Hello and welcome back to Operations with the Void. I'm your host, Forgotten Void, and this week we are going after the Congress, which was voted by all of you as my next video. So the Congress is Wargaming's attempt at selling Alaska again. It is a different version. It's basically Alaska, but at tier 8 with two less guns. So you remove one from the front and one from the rear. So you now have a 7-gun Alaska. It also has one less heal stock. So even with Superintendent, you only get a maximum of 3 heals. That said, it still has 305s currently with 22-second reload time. So having the 305s at tier 8, it's interesting. It's a different concept, but you also get the 60-second fires that come with running a battle cruiser, and coupled with having a low number of heals means she's actually on the fragile side, even though she's a cruiser and somewhat tanky in some regards. So like she has a 27 millimeter bow, which all U.S. Heavy cruisers have, and a nice 220 millimeter armor belt, and a 36 millimeter deck. She's still on the squishy side because well, mostly fires. She just fires. She's very damaged to fires, and also quite a large superstructure. For a cruiser, this is pretty large of a superstructure. And you know, you have these cranes for planes, but if you want planes, you have to give up your radar. So we don't have planes, we have radar. We have Def AA just for Hermes and Cherry Blossom, because hydroacoustic search and radar, yes, you can swap between them, but I personally prefer shooting down planes. That's just me. Uh, Most people will probably say hydroacoustic search is the better option. I don't always like to have the best option. Sometimes I like to uh, just have fun by building into AA. So on to the upgrades. We just have the recommended upgrades. Just concealment for a little bit of concealment, so that we're at 13.5 with the captain skill. We have damage control system and India Yankee for a minus 35% on fire times. Unfortunately, the minus fire times is a battleship skill on for captains, so you can't take that, even though this ship desperately needs it. We have aiming modules for more accuracy. We have reducing risk of catching fire, although the ship still catches fire really easily, and a main battery module to reduce the chance that our main battery will be knocked out. Although I am tempted to have damage control party to make this 5 seconds into 9 seconds. That is tempting, but we will keep it with main battery. On to the captain skills. So we have grease the gears for turret traverse, because they are pretty slow. With skills, it's down to 26% and 26 seconds but it's still on the slower side. Gun feeder, so we can swap between HE and AP, because you do swap between the two pretty often. Priority target, so we know how many people are looking at us, helps us make decisions. Survivability expert because the survivability expert is a little bit more HP plus a little bit more healing. Superintendent is a must for that extra heal, because otherwise 2 heals is not enough. You must get that extra heal. We have adrenaline rush for more reload and top grade gunner. So these are our reload. After that, if you want to take this into random, sometimes you would want concealment expert. If you don't want to take it into randoms and this is only for ops, then radio location is my suggestion. So mostly for Raptor Rescue, so you know where things are. If you don't want either of these, then you can go into other skills, so like heavy AP, and then consumable specialist reduces the reload time of radar and your FAA, so that's another option. Or you can go with longer radar time and have some AA. It After this, it's kind of up to you, but this is the base build that I have. So with that, let's hop into battle. So here we are in it's a tier 8, tier 7 match. So this is where Congress will actually do better, even though we have 2 mines on the team. Maybe they can win for us. But so Congress, like, because she's a tier 8 Alaska, if she goes into a tier 9 match, it's kind of, well, why not bring an actual tier 9 super cruiser, because they would do better. They have better pen, more guns, more DPM. So this is actually the better time where Congress works out. And even then she has her faults. Like, she doesn't have DPM. Like, she has some nice alpha, but she just doesn't have DPM. And she doesn't have the alpha a battleship has. She runs into the problem of she doesn't have the tools of a cruiser, and she doesn't have the tools of a battleship. It's kind of in that awkward position where the cruiser has the DPM and has where it doesn't have the survivability, and then a battleship has survivability and alpha but not DPM, and then here's Congress. She doesn't have the survivability of a battleship, nor the alpha of a battleship, nor the DPM of a cruiser. She gets the worst of all the traits for all 4 305 guns. I mean, every now and again you can go in a good salvo against normal cruisers. Yeah, it's just an extra large heavy cruiser where you can punish other cruisers, but it's a very niche thing to just be able to punish other cruisers and not be able to punish anything else. Like, we have radar, and I guess in PvP the radar helps against destroyers, but otherwise, yeah. And then you get Citadel from a Fuso. Because while her armor bow on was decent, side on like that, I was hoping to get behind the islands. So this is a tactic where if you're going to do this, you have to go fast. There's no hesitating. You go in, you push, and you go full speed. You must go full speed, otherwise it's not worth it. Like, a French battleship can do this because they have the speed to go around to flank the ships. But a slow battleship absolutely should not. Slow cruiser, not even. Like, here we are going in a turn and we're doing 30 knots. This is a decent speed. This is a fast cruiser. So she has speed. And, if you're going to go fast around this, then yeah, you can get around it, then you can go up, and then you're actually doing something meaningful by cutting off the battleships, possibly even finding their broadsides. Whereas if you go sit in the middle, the battleships will start turning towards you. So when the battleships turn and give you their broadside, you can punish them. Same with cruisers. And yes, I was talking about you don't have the alpha of a battleship. Yes, we don't have the alpha of a battleship. We can still, at close range, punish battleships. And I saw no one's close, so now we're going to turn in. I wanted to just go along the coast before popping out and saying hi to the cruisers, but we are going to pop in and say hello to the shores, the captain of the shores. And now we're being targeted by all the cruisers. Thankfully, our destroyers, all three of our destroyers, are now taking out the cruisers. I could have done this earlier, but no. Decided to wait until they came really close. So we are letting this burn because one fire is, and being shot at by armor piercing is going to be less damage than being set on multiple fires and getting penetrated by our high explosive shells. Because as soon as the DCP is used, we are absolutely getting set on fire. And this is the benefit of having long fires, is that the enemy will shoot armor piercing at you more, and at this tier, armor piercing isn't going to do much. Even the cruisers at the higher tier, they would just bounce. And here we are, we have, about nearly twice the reload of heavy cruisers. A little bit less now that we have taken damage and there's a ship in front of us within our detection radius. And the Alba's down. And so we go ahead and throw the DCP down thinking, oh, it's going to be fine. And not wanting to have as much armor piercing sent our way. All this means is now the Myokos over there are salvo firing at us. It's a lot of shells. That's 20 HE shells right there. Okay, it was 18, and then they fired 2 more at the end. Yeah. So, since we are the only thing in targeting range for the Myokos, we are the ones who are being shot at and we are taking. And so, this is where not being tanky hurts, because right now, we are having to be the tank. And, but we're not in a good ship to do the tanking. Our one battleship would do it much better if they would only, move up. I mean, yeah, the Downhalt would do it so much better, and since they have German armor, they would tank better, and all those guns would do so much better. And they're 350, so they're bigger than us, and it has DPM and alpha that we don't have in the Downhalt, and survivability. Congress really its niche is in PvP. It fills a cruiser slot and brings a lot of HP to the table in the cruiser slot. And it can throw people off surprise because it has big guns at tier 8 for a cruiser, and the radar at tier radar starts at tier 8, but it does have the long-lasting US radar. So those are good for PvP, but in the PvE section, she's a meh boat. Decent for PvP, meh in PvE. And I mean, in this case, taking Hydro, taking Defray, that nothing would have changed. We never got any torp sent at us. Hydro would have never not been helpful except for maybe shooting the battleship that one edge case. Otherwise, that's why Hydro is such a niche. If you have radar, Hydro is a lot harder to find use for. And that's why I'm comfortable taking Defay instead of Hydro. In PvP, you should be taking Hydro usually to defend against torpedoes and to have a secondary. And then well, there's a good salvo against Nagato, and our guns knocked out. But yeah, in PvP you should take Hydro, whereas not so much in PvE because you can more. It's easier to predict torps in PvE. There we go. And we're able to get this Nagato down. That's the second Nagato down. With our destroyers clumped up over here, even though they really don't need to be. But we're on fire again, and this is where if we had an extra heal, we would be using our heal and we'd survive. If we didn't have 30-second fires, the fire would be out and we'd survive. But this is where the combination of few heals and the 30-second fire, this is it's it's a bad combination. So it's just yeah, it's not tanky for PvE, and it doesn't have the DPM. So yes, I mean if you have it, you can use it, and it has good things, but it's not well, it's suboptimal for PvE because it doesn't have survivability, it doesn't have DPM, and it doesn't have alpha. I say that whereas I've been taking out battleships, but I took a lot to take out those battleships. So, and another battleship taking out a battleship is you're usually going to leave with most of your HP because you have the survivability to do that. Whereas the battle cruiser or the Nagato's overmatched us, the Mutsu overmatches us. We were lucky with the Mutsu that they didn't throw any torpedoes or shoot us at all. And luckily, our destroyers were able to take out the destroyers in the mines were able to take out our the curve first. I guess I shouldn't expect much since it's a Jupiter 42. That ship is also suboptimal. You can be a good player, but that ship is very suboptimal. And you can be have a really good ship like mines and be in the back and be at nearly full HP and not do much. So yes, yeah, sometimes good players can make a bad ship work, but at the same time, why take the bad ship in the begin place when you can take a better ship? If you're a suboptimal player, I mean, there are players. I was a suboptimal player at one point in time, and I am still feel like it in randoms. Sometimes you take a ship that can compensate the difference. Find a ship that matches you. Now, formulas, we did get quite a few citadels. I'm actually surprised we had 12 citadels. Um, only 3 destroyed. Yeah. And somehow we're in the top. Like, why are we in the top? Like, we shouldn't be in the top. The Congress is not that good of a ship. All these other ships, except for Jupiter 42, are better than Congress, but um, getting into position and finding those broadsides, I guess that's what got us the top of the scoreboard. Also, being the only one being shot at, maybe. Not sure. I mean, yeah, the battleships we took mostly down, and then we touched a bunch of cruisers. We didn't touch a single destroyer. Why are we on top? And yes, damage received. We did receive 86,000 because that's the maximum damage we can receive between all 3 heals. And so we did bring a lot of HP to the table, but what was that? 21,000 just in fires. So very weak to fires. But at least we made some money, you know, just running greens, but we still made a decent profit. So with that, if you liked this video, thumbs up. If you did it, thumbs down. Next week we will showcase the Colombo, and then we will go from there. That I hope to see you next week. Have a good one.